Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. In this one, I will be telling you about the symbolism and meaning of the Queen of Cups in the Thoth deck. As usual, I will start with a description of the card, and then we will be diving deeper into the symbolism of all of the elements that we can see here. I will list the meanings of this card in divination at the very end of the video, so the timestamp for when I start talking about that is shown below now, so you can jump there if you want. When we look at the card, the first thing we notice is that we can barely see our queen. Her face is just about visible behind these veils of light that are all over the card. Her companion is a white ibis, and we can see that she is holding a shell with a crayfish inside, and she's also holding a lotus flower, and there are two more lotuses on the sea before her throne. The pastel colors of the card show us that the energy here is very calm, but it is also pulsating. It's definitely not a still energy. We can see it's vibrant and alive. And let's see how Crowley describes this card in the Book of Thoth. She is represented as enthroned upon still water. In her hand, she bears a shell-like cup from which issues a crayfish. And she bears also the Lotus of Isis of the Great Mother. She is robed in and veiled by endless curves of light, and the sea upon which she is enthroned conveys the almost unbroken images of the image which she represents. So we know that her throne is the still sea that is all around her, and the shell she holds in her left hand is also her cup. Crayfish is sometimes used to symbolize the sign of Cancer in astrology, and in heraldry it represents tenaciousness and the power of regeneration. A crayfish can also be found in clear waters and are sometimes used to monitor the purity of waters, because their bodies will change if there is a change in the water purity. Our queen is holding the Lotus of Isis, who is called the Great Mother in the quote. Isis is both the sister and the wife of Osiris, and she's also a mother of Horus. So she was considered to be the divine mother of the pharaoh in ancient Egypt, and she is very often depicted with the lotus flower in her hand. Motherhood was a very important aspect of her story. She is said to have traveled among humans with her child Horus in order to protect him from her brother Set. She was very compassionate and kind, and she was connected with healing and also with protecting souls in the afterlife. So Isis was probably the most complex of all of the deities in ancient Egypt, because so many female deities were merged with her throughout history. So in the end, it looks like she encompasses all of feminine divine powers in the world. As you probably already know from my other videos, lotus is a symbol of our immortal and divine part. This is our intuition, the energy that flows through our chakras. So the Queen of Cups holding a lotus flower shows us that she is very much in touch with her intuition and her emotions, and she has this kind of beautiful motherly energy of Isis. The hand that holds the lotus is also touching the white ibis that accompanies our queen. Ibis is a symbol of the ancient Egyptian god Thoth, the patron of this deck. And Thoth is said to have given Isis the words that she then uses to help her husband Osiris to come back to life. So therefore the conception of their son Horus is possible. Thoth is associated with wisdom, with writing. He is the inventor of science. He is also associated with magic and is described in many myths as a wise counselor and persuader. So he doesn't seem to be taking any sides in the feuds between other gods. It's more like he is a mediator between them. And we will see how all of this links with the character of the Queen of Cups in just a moment when we start discussing the decans that she rules over. But first, let's just finish looking at the elements of the card and their meaning. It's mentioned in the quote that she is enthroned upon the sea, and all around her we can see the endless curves of light. They look more like waves of energy, and we can see them reflected in the sea below her, which reminds us of the Ace of Cups, where similar waves are reflected in the water in the bottom part of the card. So in the Ace of Cups, we can see that the waves are radiating outward from the cup. And here in the Queen of Cups card, they are also radiating from the cup she's holding, but we can see that they are twisting above her head. So she is in a way entangled with all that is happening around her, and her face is obscured by those curves of light, by those waves. And this in turn tells us that her identity is hidden and it will be difficult to decipher. We can see two lotus flowers on the sea in front of our queen, and the colors of those flowers mirror the colors of the eyes of dolphins that we remember from the Two of Cups. The right eye is golden because it's associated with the sun, and the left eye is silver because it corresponds to the moon. And that's why in the Golden Dawn version of the Two of Cups, we have two dolphins that are called argent and ore, silver and gold. This further shows the perfect harmony of masculine and feminine energies in that card. So, gold is associated with the sun and represents male energy, and silver is connected with the moon, so feminine energy. And of course, we need to always remember that these two types of energies exist in all of us. So let's see how all of this links to the character of the Queen of Cups. She rules over the last decan of Gemini and two first decans of Cancer. So the time frame associated with all of these three decans is from the 11th of June until the 11th of July. Her first decan is connected with Sun in Gemini, so this is the Ten of Swords. And this is where we get the ibis from. It's a bird sacred to Thoth, who is the equivalent of Mercury, and Mercury rules the sign of Gemini. So the Ten of Swords shows a complete ruin of all plans. It's described by Crowley as the reason run mad, and it represents the logic of lunatics and, for the most part, of philosophers. It is reason divorced from reality. So we see here that although the Queen of Cups is in touch with her emotions, she is also very much connected with her intellect at the same time. And this is why she holds both the lotus and is touching the ibis with the same hand. These two connect in her, creating a person that can talk about emotions, can explain them, and approach them from an intellectual side. And this type of skill is very useful among philosophers and psychologists. Although in her, this trait can be sometimes taken to its extreme, and she can get lost in the feelings and her thoughts about the feelings, and therefore become completely unable to take action, and so unable to actually accomplish anything. The second decan of the Queen of Cups is the energy of Venus in Cancer, presented in the Two of Cups. So this is the perfect harmony of masculine and feminine energies in her, and her kindness, her ability to relate to everyone she encounters. She is very caring and is able to understand anyone, but this also means that she sometimes forgets herself when she relates to others. And Crowley says this about her. It may really be said that normally people of this type have no character at all of their own, unless it can be called a characteristic to be at the disposition of every impact or impression. Her last decan is Mercury in Cancer, the Three of Cups. This further shows her ability to be friends with anyone. She's excellent in cooperating and loves to be surrounded by people. Crowley says that the chief pleasure of people of this type is to lead and attract others. Such are accordingly, often enough, exceedingly popular. So we know that she is very social and will be popular among her friends. Her friendships will be quite deep and rich. So she might get so involved in other people's problems that she will be forgetting about herself. And this is very much shown by her elemental attribution that we will discuss next. The following quote from the Book of Thoth will tell us about this. The Queen of Cups represents the watery part of water, its power of reception and reflection. Her image is of extreme purity and beauty, with infinite subtlety. To see the truth of her is hardly possible, for she reflects the nature of the observer in great perfection. So as you probably already know from my other videos, every chord card is assigned to one of the elements first, according to who it represents, and then secondarily it's assigned to the element of the suit. So all queens are associated with the element of water, and therefore our queen will be the watery part of water because we are in the suit of cups. So, as we can see, this creates her ability to understand everyone, and she is able to reflect everything and shape herself to fit any situation. So, this is a very powerful ability that makes everyone love her. But on the other hand, it is limiting her because she becomes just a reflection. There isn't enough substance in her to define who she is without anyone else around. And this is shown in the last quote that I have for you today. The characteristics associated with this card are principally dreaminess, illusion, and tranquility. She is the perfect agent and patient, able to receive and transmit everything without herself being affected thereby. If ill-dignified, all these qualities are degraded. Everything that passes through her is refracted and distorted. But speaking generally, her characteristics depend mostly upon the influences which affect her. So we need to remember when thinking about her character that a lot will depend on the influence she receives from her surroundings. And when we interpret this card in a reading, we will need to pay attention to the other cards in the spread, as they will be showing us what influences her at this moment and therefore who she is currently as a person. So, like the crayfish in her cup, she will be telling us more about her environment than about herself. And her sensitivity and intuition can sometimes lead to psychic abilities, but even if she doesn't want to develop in this direction, she will still be very intuitive and spiritual. Now I'm going to tell you a bit about how to interpret this card in divination. So, as an action, and this will be more a reaction to something rather than taking action itself. So, if we want to interpret this card as an action, this would mean you need to fit into the situation around you and not try to influence what is happening. As a person, this is someone with a very caring and nurturing motherly energy, but this person will also need the attention and influence from others. She's a very good friend. She's this kind of person that you will be able to tell all of your secrets to. She's a great listener and she's genuinely wanting to help others. She loves to help others. She can talk about emotions and can analyze them. And there is a very calm and peaceful energy around her. So she has a lot of friends. She's very popular in her environment. And the type of people that she's around will shape her personality. And she can also get so involved in other people's problems that she completely loses her sense of self. As a partner, she can be a very good partner in life because she can communicate her emotions effectively and she is very kind and caring. The problem is that she very often forgets about herself and therefore she can be vulnerable to toxic relationships because she will be always trying to understand and she will always be trying to offer help, even to the worst kind of person. And she can also have platonic relationships in her life because she's interested more in this emotional connection, in the soul connection with the other person, rather than the physical aspect of a relationship. The jobs that she could have would include psychologist or maybe other type of therapist. She could be a spiritual healer. She could be someone who does divination or offers psychic help. This could be a yoga teacher, for example. This could be someone who teaches meditation, because the main joy of her life is helping others and also being in constant contact with other people. If this card shows up in your reading as advice, then the Queen of Cups will tell you to get in touch with your emotions. Don't try to force things and don't try to influence the outcome of the situation. So, here as advice, you need to take a step back and you need to listen to what is happening around you. You need to get the feel of what your environment is right now and have like a critical look at how all of it is influencing your identity and your decisions. So, this card is an invitation to observation and reflection. And this could also mean that you should help others more, that you should be more nurturing and listen to other people's needs. As an obstacle, this card will mean that you are influenced by your environment too much and you are losing your sense of self. So think about yourself for a change and not about others, and approach this situation you're in logically, not emotionally. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to like the video and of course subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would like to thank everyone who is already supporting the channel. I appreciate your help very, very much. And if you want to help me provide even more great videos explaining Thoth, please consider maybe a one-time PayPal donation, or you can become my patron for just €3 per month. So it's a bit like getting me a cup of coffee to say thanks. Every little bit of support and every donation is a great help for the channel and is greatly appreciated. All of the links are in the video description below. So once again, thank you so much for today, and I will see you in the next video about the Prince of Cups very soon. Thank you so much for today. Bye!